Number 20. Whale bones. During excavations for a rail project in Edinburgh, Scotland in June 2020, between a post office and a scrapyard, two large bones from the fin of a large sperm whale were discovered buried underneath the ground. They were found right along with a cannonball and were thought to have originated from the 16th to 17th century as part of the town's defense systems. Though the bones were discovered by construction workers, analysis was performed by John Lawson, Edinburgh's council archaeologist. He stated that the origins of the bones were a mystery, but then they may have been trophies brought from elsewhere. Number 19. An unexploded World War II-era RAF bomb. The city of Augsburg, Bavaria, was one of the most populous cities during World War II. During the war, Allied forces targeted the city repeatedly, although clearly not every bomb went off. On Christmas Day 2016, one such bomb was found unexploded underneath the city. The 1.8-ton explosive caused 54,000 people to evacuate the city as a massive police operation was put into place to disarm and remove the bomb. The mayor of the city, Kurt Grill, coordinated the evacuations. He also stated that there might be many more bombs buried underneath the city. Number 18. More than 40 skeletons. In January 2020, 42 skeletons were found in Milton Keynes, a town in England. They were unearthed during groundworks for a new development of 72 retirement flats on former farmland near Birmingham. The skeletons had shallow graves and appeared to have been bound behind their backs. Although the company behind the excavation attempted to hide the discovery, the local townspeople didn't let them. District and town councillor Robin Suchbury said that the skeletons could date back to Anglo-Saxon times, or could even be from the Civil War era. Although an investigation began into the source of the skeletons, a report has yet to be released. Number 17. An 18th century cemetery. In November 2011, Vincent Marcello wanted to build a new pool. However, given the history of New Orleans, he suspected that he might find buried bodies at the construction site, and so he hired an archaeologist, Ryan Gray, to confirm his findings. And just as he expected, about 15 800-pound stone coffins were found. DNA testing can reveal more demographic information about the bodies in the coffin. However, it would be impossible to name them, since the town records went down in a blaze in the 19th century. Number 16. The 2,200-year-old long-lost temple of Pharaoh Ptolemy IV. While construction was going on in a small town in Egypt for a new drainage system, workers happened to uncover an ancient underground temple. Not knowing precisely what they had stumbled across, but having a fair idea, they stopped work and allowed the appropriate authorities to investigate. Then, on October 2nd, 2019, the Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities, Mostafa Waziri, announced that the discovery was the 2,200-year-old long-lost temple of Pharaoh Ptolemy IV, who ruled Egypt from 221 BCE to 205 BCE. Findings were confirmed by inscriptions on the temple's limestone walls. Number 15. A cinema. In August 2004, while undergoing a routine exercise, police in Paris, France discovered a modern, private theater hidden in catacombs underneath the city. Although swastikas were found painted on the ceilings, so were crosses, ruling out the influence of extremist groups in the place's construction. The cinema was connected to a second cave, which was used as a restaurant. There was also electrical wiring, phone wiring, a projector, and a screen present on site. After an investigation, police found out that the phone wiring and electrical lines had been cut. They also discovered a note that said, "Do not try to find us." Number 14. A Ferrari. In February 1978, some kids in Los Angeles were messing around and digging around their yard. Then, they stumbled upon something hard and metallic. It turns out the boys had discovered a Ferrari Dyno 246 GTS. How the car had gotten there was a mystery that prompted an investigation. The car had been crudely mummified with pieces of cloth plugged into the exhaust pipes. However, the windows weren't closed all the way through, causing a lot of damage to the interior. Photographer Michael Herring shot the story for the local newspaper. The investigation arrived at the conclusion that the car had been stolen 4 years earlier and hidden there by thieves. Number 13. The Betts Mystery Sphere. The Betts family, who are known for their winery business, suffered a tragedy in 1974, during which a fire destroyed a large part of their woodlands. In the aftermath, while examining the damage, they discovered a strange metal ball, which was completely smooth except for a single elongated triangle symbol. The family decided to invite a photojournalist, Lon Enger, to help them investigate. They found out that the ball had very strange properties and could change its set direction by itself, as well as resonate with certain sounds and noises. This prompted a media frenzy in which people began to hypothesize that the ball was from space. In any case, the ball has been lost to time. Today, its whereabouts are allegedly unknown. Number 12. The Antikythera Mechanism. In the year 1900, in a shipwreck off of a Greek island, the Antikythera mechanism was found under 158 feet of water. It was a gear-like mechanism that the top scientists at the time were at a loss to explain. According to Professor Michael Edmonds of Cardiff University, who led the team studying the mechanism, the Antikythera mechanism was the world's first computer. It was a device impeccably designed to track the motion of the planets in the sky. The device is dated to originate from the 2nd century. Number 11. Boats under San Francisco. The city of San Francisco has hundreds of ships buried underneath it. The last time one of these ships was unearthed was in 2001. These ships are remnants of the gold rush era of the city, during which thousands of people sailed to and away from the West Coast looking to find a fortune. As the gold rush died down, most of these ships got abandoned, and some got put to other uses, such as offices, bars, stores, hotels, and prisons. Even though 40 ships have been found, at least 75 more are estimated to lie beneath the city. These ships may contain lost treasures, remains, or something else entirely. Number 10. The Baghdad Batteries. In 1938, a German archaeologist known as Wilhelm Koenig discovered a mysterious clay jar in a town outside Baghdad in modern-day Iraq. The jar contained an iron rod encased in a copper cylinder, and early tests revealed that an acidic agent, such as vinegar or wine, had been present within the jar. All of these are known components of batteries. Even though people tried to bury the discovery at the time, discussions about these batteries came back around after World War II. Till today, the origin and purpose of the batteries remains a mystery. Number 9. The Williams Enigmalith. In 1998, an electrical engineer known as John J. Williams discovered a special stone on the ground while taking a hike in North America. There was one peculiarity about the stone in that it had 3 metals sticking out of its side, similar to a plug. Analysis of the stone showed that the material that made up the metal part was no less than 10,000 years old. Even though Williams has invited many scientists to study the stone, very few have accepted the call, as there is the perception that the entire thing is an elaborate hoax. Number 8. An 1894 time capsule. In 2015, in Scotland, construction workers working on the Ruthven Road Bridge discovered a box that looked like a safety deposit box. Within the box, they found a capsule. When the capsule was opened, the construction workers found an assortment of different items. Of particular interest was a bottle of whiskey and a newspaper dating back from 1894. Apparently, the box was a time capsule. The items were donated to the local museum, where it was found that the capsule was created during the bridge's construction in the 19th century. Number 7. A 13th century mansion. In 2013, while preparing construction for a new house, excavators in Wellington, England, found an ancient mansion buried underneath the ground. A mansion of that size should have had some public record about it, but there was absolutely nothing to be found. However, an archaeologist known as Bob Davis found a tile on the site which had a painting of a knight on it. From that, it was approximated that the house was built in the 12th century. Number 6. A 17th century African burial ground. In Manhattan, 1991, between Broadway and Center Street, near Thomas Paine Park, plans were underway for the construction of a new federal building. However, the moment excavation began, workers realized that they had stumbled upon an ancient burial site dating back to the 1690s and 1790s. Constructions were halted while archaeological investigations took place to find out more information about the site. Now, the site has been declared a national monument by the American government, and some of the remains have been identified. Christopher Moore identified his grandfather's remains, who was known as Groot Manuel. Number 5. A medieval hospital. The Black Death is famous for killing 1 in 3 people in Europe. During its heyday, many hospitals were overrun with sick individuals and were abandoned once there were no medical health professionals to take care of the sick. When Apple was excavating a site in Madrid in July 2013 to build a store, they ended up discovering the foundations of one such hospital. The hospital had been in use from the 15th century to the 19th century. Number 4. A 60,000-year-old woolly mammoth tusk. In 2014, in Seattle, Washington, a mammoth tusk, which is 8 feet 6 inches long, was discovered at a construction site. Senior Vice President of the construction company, Scott Koppelman, informed his men to stop work in the wake of the discovery. The tusk was then carefully removed and taken to Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture in Seattle. Its age ranges between 16,000 years and 60,000. Number 3. 24 coffins. In March 2017, beneath a Philadelphia apartment building, around 24 coffins were found. These coffins contained fully intact human remains. An associate professor and director of forensics at the Rutgers University Camden, known as Kimberly Morin, was summoned with her team to analyze the coffins. As it turns out, the coffins were supposed to have been exhumed and reinterred by a church that moved into the neighborhood in 1860. However, corners were cut, leaving a nasty surprise for the construction workers. Number 2. A 1,500-year-old Byzantine church. In June 2015, in Jerusalem, Israel, a 1,500-year-old church was discovered on an ancient road. These discoveries took place by accident, as excavations were underway to make way for new construction projects. According to Annette Nagar, director of the excavation, the church was built in the Byzantine period next to the ancient road between Jerusalem and the coastal plain. Lots of smaller items were discovered within the church, including mother-of-pearl shells, glass jars, marble, and oil lamps. Number 1. An ancient Mayan ball court. In 2006, a housing project in Yucatan, Mexico, uncovered ancient historical ruins. Before the ruins were destroyed, the National Institute of Anthropology stepped in, discovering that the ruins contained an ancient Mayan ball game court. Fernando Acevedo and Donata Martin España, researchers with the National Institute, said the court is 82 feet long and 15 feet wide. The ball game played on the court was of special mythological and cultural significance, linked to the Mayan account of the creation of the sun and moon, said to have taken place after a match in which the gods Hanakpu and Xbalanque confronted the lords of the underworld. Would you rather find a Ferrari that you can't use underground, or $1,000 you can actually use?